Welcome to the Bastard Sermon. This is one of your three hosts, Cody Hucker,
Luke Young,
Patrick Seta. And today we have our guest, Rachel Flynn of Haunted Visions, the podcast.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be here.
So, have you ever smelled your own fart?
I mean, if you're stuck in a room by yourself or in a car, I mean, can you really avoid it?
My question is, have you ever actually done
Personally, tried to bask in my own scent.
it? You just fart?
Gone out of your way, karate chopped your butthole, farted, and then
No, I don't think. Is
Never?
that possible?
You just cup your butt.
I
and then
don't
you fart,
buttercup
you give it-
myself. Are you asking if I've buttercupped myself?
Is that what it's called?
Is that a term?
It's you take your palm.
That means
and
she
you
has,
cup
because she
it,
knows the
and
technical,
I saw it in some Ace Ventura movie. I'm pretty sure. You just
I remember him talking with his asshole, and he was asking for a breath mint.
asshole.
He throws it.
Do you have a breath mint?
Yeah. No, I've not done that.
what
So,
a fun way to
Rachel,
start the episode off, Pat.
I'm
with,
one of those people
smelling
that
farts.
if I ever have to go to the bathroom, number 2,
Uh-huh.
for all you listeners at home, turn on my sexy
That
voice
means
when I'm talking
taking
about
a shit, right?
shit. I use VI poo. That shit's
VI
awesome.
poo?
It's so good. Everyone's like, oh, it's really, really good. And I
is
was
VI
skeptical.
poo?
You spray it. It's like an oil-based
I have
scent.
poopery. I know exactly what you're talking
It's
about.
basically the same thing, but it's called VI poo.
And I take,
Please open my world
bro,
up
I take
into
mean
this.
monster dumps. I don't know what your dumps are like, but they'll scare my grandpa who can't barely smell anything all the way upstairs. So I gotta really white matches won't get it done. But this shit that she's talking about, I'm sure it's the same thing. It's all essential oils and it's peppermint based. Mine is, and it smells like fireball shots. But it's better than smelling like rank butthole. I mean, for
Yeah.
sure.
Are you
it's better than
spraying
that.
it in the
What are
toilet?
you eating?
You spray it
You spray
3
it-
sprays in a toilet and
you
then you flush it, and then it smells like fucking.
So
candy
I
cane.
personally like to do a little spritz beforehand,
Courtesy
and then
spritz.
it's like it envelopes everything, and then I do another spritz, and yeah.
What
it's
if you
good.
get a kerplunker though, one that falls in and then the water comes up? Does the peppermint oil could that burn, or is it diluted enough in the shit water to where it's fine?
I don't know. I've done
Something
that
you never
problem yet.
pondered?
No, maybe I need to start a scientific journal and let you know. I'll
That's
get
the
back
next
to you.
podcast.
I'll get back to you.
Poo
So,
talk.
we were Rachel and I were watching Hoarders not too long ago, and we were really getting into it.
Shit's
And there was
addicting.
it is. So hoarding is addicting too. I'm a hoarder now.
What do you hoard?
You're not a hoarder, Patrick. Your house is
I was gonna
organized and
say,
cleanly.
Never
He
mind.
hoards
your house
unopened
looks,
mail.
You guys kind of look like you have your shit together.
Yeah, an open mail is probably the best way to say it. But I don't know. There's people that shit in Gatorade bottles and they throw it in their fucking...
Did you guys read the story about the mad pooper a couple months ago?
Explain.
The woman?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we were watching.
Phenomenal.
She shits in fucking Gatorade bottles and tosses it in
No,
her...
this is
I
different.
thought it was satire, dude.
No, this girl's no.
There's shit on our food.
No, this girl's legit. A lot of times for runners, when you have all those endorphins and hormones going in your body when you're running and adrenaline, you can't help it. You just have to go. You have to have bowel movement.
Oh, yeah.
So this woman, I don't remember what neighborhood it was in. Hi, kitty. No, I'm not. The cat wasn't the one
Oh, it was
shitting,
the girl
but-
that was taking a shit
Yes, she
outside,
would
and
just-
the kids are outside and stuff. I
she
know
would
what you're
just-
talking about.
What are you doing over there?
I'm pressing tactical nuke because that's what I think of that every time I take a shit.
Oh,
Okay.
that's great.
You know.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so anyways, back to the poop runner.
So she would just drop trowel in someone's yard, take a shit, not wipe, not anything, pull her pants up and keep running. And
That's
people
baller.
actually started a neighborhood watch
Yeah,
to
there's
find
a-
this woman because she's like, my kid's playing in this yard and you're taking a crap in the corner of my yard. I don't
Yeah,
know why I'm
but-
faking this weird
That's
Minnesota
so
accent.
baller. What? That's the most rare thing to ever do. You know what kind of nerves of steel
Yeah.
you need
This
to
lady's-
just drop trowel?
Is that your kind of woman?
No, it's not my kind of woman. But that's courage you have to respect. I dare any one of you to go into some neighbor's yard and then just take a dump right there, knowing they're watching you in the window.
That's some
You
psychopathic
double dog there,
shit,
man?
though. I mean,
Is that psychopathic
That's
shit, or is that the need?
That's a whole new level of voyeurism.
well, what she's
Fact.
talking about is real.
Well, for the people in the window.
Fact. For the people, ooh.
How about those people that are in the grocery stores? You see them in the video camera footage, and they're just like walking, and they shake their pant leg, and a turd falls out, and they just walk.
I've seen that too.
Fucking old people, dude. Why do they poop themselves so much?
Are there casual poopers out there?
Casual
their
poopers,
sphincter
dude?
muscles
I'm
aren't
pretty
tight
sure
anymore.
scat porn is a thing.
It definitely is.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
What, you watched it?
Yeah, of
Isn't
course
it
I have. I've seen every awful
Girls,
thing
One
that the
Cup?
internet has to offer. It's
Ugh.
Two girls,
terrible.
one cup.
I don't know. I saw something
They
on
said that that's
4chan
fake.
once.
They're like, they put chocolate ganache up her butthole. And I was
No,
like,
that
it
looked
still
like
came
shit.
out of her butthole, crazy people. Like, that's still disgusting.
Once
I don't
upon a time, it was chocolate
care. I don't
ganache.
care how many times you douche your butthole out.
It
That's
came
still,
in.
That's still some poopy ganache.
But through her body and
Poopy
digested.
ganache.
Yeah, it's fucking nasty.
My favorite term of the evening.
Damn.
We talk about
nasty.
shit since the very beginning.
Good
Let's,
lord, can we talk about a non-shit related
we
topic?
can.
Well, let me.
Rachel,
I got
let's-
one more thing. Hold on.
Let's talk
Oh,
about
come
one more thing.
on,
One more
Pat.
thing. One more thing.
Come on,
Have you
man.
ever sat in one of those toilets that
A
shot the
bidet?
water up
A
your butt?
bidet?
Yeah,
Yes.
What's that like?
This is all the emotions wrapped into one.
I'm
First,
sorry, Rachel, will you eat the mic?
First, ooh, and then oh, and then confusion, and then embarrassment because you like it. Yeah,
I feel like I'd love it
Because
because
you like it.
because you like it.
I hear
but
people-
no one's around. Well, I don't know. I don't know who you are if you're enjoying a bidet.
I didn't mean to press that. I'm sorry.
Dude, I hear everybody talk about
Subliminal
this example, and
messaging.
it's actually a really good example. If you had shit on your face, would you just wipe it off with a piece of toilet paper? Would you get some fucking soap and water up in there? You definitely, for sure, soap and water.
Sure would, Joe Rogan.
What?
I said I sure would, Joe Rogan.
No, yeah, I know. That's I said I've heard other people making this exact point, but that's why I'm just like, a bidet is definitely the way to go. Like, you gotta get some water in there, son. All right, Pat, are we done
Clean
talking
it.
about
I mean,
poop?
I want to make
Yeah.
one more point.
Okay.
I'm one of those freaks that likes personal hygiene wipes too. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's just because I'm a girl. I think I like being fresh because you use wipes on a baby's bottom, right?
Yeah,
Facts.
of course.
So, okay, if you just use toilet paper, you're not getting all those germs.
It goes back
right?
to the point that I was just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so.
I use wipes too, but that's mostly for hemorrhoids.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
That was perfect.
Yeah, too. That's my favorite. That's my favorite sound clip right there. Yeah.
So weed's gonna be legal tomorrow.
yeah,
How
that's
about
pretty
that,
cool.
kids?
Medically.
Medically legal. and
You know how
nobody's
many people
have
are
it.
going to be getting a license to sell that?
Yeah.
A
One.
lot.
Me.
out of my
Doctor, I have headaches all of the time.
And medicine doesn't work. Only pot.
I'm going to go there and tell them I've got
That's the old-
glaucoma.
I've got all this Glock in my coma, and I just need to get it out with some dank weed, Doc.
that's the old Joe Rogan joke. Doc, I get headaches. When do you get headaches? Whenever I think about the fact that pot's illegal. Like, oh yeah, well here's
How
your
do they
card.
test for glaucoma?
Right.
How do they test for that?
I don't know. I had a scare.
Find
I had a
cataracts in your
zombie
eyes.
eye all last week.
Oh yeah, that was fucking.
You had
nasty.
zombie eye? What is
Oh
zombie
my God.
eye?
Let
Were
me-
you bitten?
You got pictures of this?
I
It looked like
do.
someone farted in her pillow.
No, it was bad.
Zombie
I
eye?
was
Is that like
Snapchatting everybody.
pink
It was
eye
gross
evolved?
looking. I will show you this picture, and
It seriously-
you might shit yourself. Do you have your wipes handy?
Well, I was gonna shake the turd out of my pant leg like the old people at the at the
In my
grocery store.
house.
Yeah, in my house. What you mean?
But what if
Put
it
some respect
hits
in my house?
What if it hits your boxers and it splits
Oh
in
my
two?
god. Okay, so she's holding up a picture of her
her
holding her
poop?
eye open, and it's like bloodshot all around the top of her fucking cornea and her pupils.
Everywhere.
Man, that's fucked. Like you burst a blood vessel in there or something.
I burst a couple of them.
What?
Yeah, it's
So
like
Yeah.
a pool
what
of
happened?
blood in her eye.
What
it's
happened?
it's
there?
gross looking. And then as it started reabsorbing, it kind of got like yellowish. And the optometrist told me that it would be fine, but it did not feel fine.
Yellow in my eye scares me because I drink a lot, and I always think that I have jaundice from fucking ruining my liver.
Jaundice.
I would have asked the doctor how to keep it so I could look like a Sith forever.
You just put those
Or you
fucking.
have malaria.
I mean, I'm pretty sure people get the whites of their eyes tattooed now. You could probably.
and
Oh, yeah.
sometimes they
Yeah,
get
but
horrible
I
eye
am a
infections and lose
huge
their vision.
wuss, and I do not have that kind of pain
You could put
tolerance. And isn't
sclera
that
lenses in
temporary?
your eyes.
No, it's
I
permanent.
also huge wuss. I don't think I could like
Sclera
pry my
contacts
eye
take up the
open.
entire white of your eye, everything. They're like the Rinnegan from Naruto, but you can only wear them for like an hour, otherwise you could get permanent damage.
I'm obsessed with a show
My
called
Lord.
Face Off that uses.
That's
that
a great
all the
fucking
time.
show.
I've been binging the fuck out
Is
of it.
Nicolas Cage in
Hollywood
it?
like type
No.
makeup, where they
John
create
Travolta?
creatures and stuff like that.
yeah, I've
not
seen
not that Face Off. God, throwback.
Face Off, where they fucking two dudes that don't look alike at
Yeah.
all take their faces and put it on their bodies like nobody's gonna notice.
Right.
90s.
Fucking only in the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
So speaking of haunted things in the Hoarders, I want to get back into the Hoarders. So I was asking earlier because since you host more of the haunted themed show, I wanted to get your opinion on something. So let's say there's someone who is a hoarder, like a serious hoarder. Like, do they have a tiny little path in all the rooms? Like the
I
garbage
almost thought you were going to
sitting?
say a tiny little package.
A tiny little package. Basically, if do they have haunted houses, hoarders? And if they do, are the ghosts just restricted to that desired path that's in between all the garbage, or can they phase through the garbage?
I don't have an answer for that. I would assume if one location could be haunted, though, why not a hoarder's house?
And also,
you know how much that would suck, though? You'd have to like run in a linear path away from any threat. That, like,
You
present
have to
itself as
climb
a-
over
one way to
mountains
go.
of crap.
Better not get cornered.
Whoa, no!
Gatorade bottles.
Go the other way.
Turn around!
Trench warfare in their house.
I last seen the ghost over by the sink.
Yeah, I've seen the horrors of hoarding.
See those?
I've been in a
those,
hoarder house before.
Those Gatorade bottles over there filled with poop. Yep, there's the pooper guys.
The pooper guys.
what was the one Hoarders where this is the one that I thought was satire that you guys were talking about before, the poop hoarder? Like the toilet didn't work, so they started like pissing in jugs and shit and just saving it.
This
it was
woman?
like saving shit. She was like eating it and stuff. Was
Oh
that
my
real?
God.
Was that
Yeah,
real?
that
Yeah,
was
dude.
fucking
Dude,
real, dude.
how? I don't understand how you don't get violently sick from some type of horrible pathogen.
Actually-
she probably was.
There's
I mean, she
this
was
like
fucked in the head, but I don't know if she was like. Well, yeah, you're right. She was probably sick with something.
Yeah,
Well,
sick in the
there's-
fucking head. Yeah, nasty.
there's a
Well, hold on,
redneck fucking drug that people fucking smell, and it's just it's a tincture of piss and shit, and it gets you fucked up.
Ew.
And
What?
it's-
Jankum.
Yeah,
I
this
heard
is
about that
yeah,
too.
What are
Jankum.
you
It's
talking
not
about?
real, though.
Jankum. It is too.
Snopes that shit right now. It was a myth.
Snopes that shit.
Dude,
Snopes
it's
it.
probably
Pat,
the
you got the
effect
fucking
of it.
internet.
Yes.
It's probably
it
the
doesn't
same
work,
thing.
and the people that did it just would probably throw up because it's like the shit helmet from Jackass. You know what
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
then
I do
don't know what it
know,
could be
you know,
then.
Bear Grylls and all those survival shows. Like, if you absolutely have to drink your piss, you can, and it won't taste great, but it's not gonna
It's gonna
kill
be
you.
bitter.
Yeah,
It'll be like
sustain you.
yeah.
There was this one I watched that was pretty crazy. He was in the desert, and he pissed in a plastic cup, and he put like a saran wrap over it.
Yes, and he
And then
drank the
let the water-
Yeah,
condensation.
and I was like, wow, that was go Bear Grylls. I don't care if he stays in hotels during the show. He's fucking.
I
badass.
would.
Yeah.
The
I
other-
mean, it
Why would he
doesn't
have
say it's a
to?
survivalist show. He's teaching you survivalist methods. That doesn't mean that he's got to go out and like literally do it
Yeah.
all. It's a TV show for crying out
There
loud.
is one
You
that's
Bear
legit,
know.
Grylls
though.
gets
Survivor
his
Man?
mail
Yeah.
like,
Survivor
out in
Man's the
woods.
legit one,
Yeah.
dude. Have you guys ever seen Survivor Man?
Survivor Man's that shit.
That's legit. He goes out in the wilderness and
For
sets
7
up
days.
2 or 3 cameras, and they're fixed. And you know that they're because it's low production value. And he sits out there
Yeah.
with fucking. He's in the deserts of Africa or not the desert, but the what's the area that has
Is that
all
the
the
one where he
lions?
got heat stroke?
I don't know if he got heat stroke, but he was trying to go to sleep, and he was like, I can't sleep. All that I hear right now is the male lions growling around me. And he was like, I can hear hyenas. And then you hear it on the fucking camera, and you're like, those things are fucking right there.
What?
Then he climbs like into a tree or some crazy shit and just like stays there up all night
They
freaking
can
the fuck
climb
out.
trees. I was
Tell
gonna
me-
say,
Yeah.
Tell me that doesn't
Yeah.
sound like the scariest scenario. You're out in the fucking African savannah by yourself in the
You're-
middle of the night.
That's-
as
hearing
Australians would say,
hyenas.
you're out in the bush.
Yeah. That's a different level of scare. I mean, Bear Grylls, yeah, respect because he really was in the British SAS and he fucking,
yeah.
he did all that shit for real. And I mean, whatever, he's staying in hotels. I mean, he has a higher production value show. It's easier in the eyes to watch. But if you want to see some real shit, that Survivor Man's insane.
What's the one with the pair where it's a guy named, I know his name is Cody because it reminds me of like a Coda bear for whatever reason, but he's always barefoot. He's like ridiculously muscular. He has long hair. He's a hippie, and then he's with this guy that kind of reminds me of like this
You're
real
talking about the
country
guys-
guy, rough around the edges.
Is he a
and
grayer goatee?
yeah,
I know you're talking about. He's like
Duck Dynasty?
He's in Jack.
No.
He's in Jackass and Wild Boys a lot. He's usually Manny. His name is Manny.
oh no, but I like that guy. He's crazy. He's
Wild
awesome.
Boy is another great show.
It is great.
But anyways, I don't know the show you're talking
No, I don't know. I'll look it up. But it's crazy. Some of the stuff they do. This guy will be in like freezing conditions on the mountain, and he's got like what I call his drug rug, like his,
That hemp. hoodie
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And he'll wear that and like cut off Daisy Dukes and completely barefoot. The
Ballin'.
man could teach you how to survive on any kind of twig and berry you can think of, but he walks around barefoot all the time. It doesn't matter the condition because he wants to show people who, if you're like really roughing it, what you can do to protect yourself. It's crazy.
What I find crazy are these Facebook videos that are like how to homemade make this thing out in the fucking woods, and then it'll be just two dudes in like white shorts that make a giant clay house with a functioning oven, a bed, and like how to make clean water. It's
tremendous.
It's so insane. It's so insane.
It's nuts.
It makes me realize how much of a not man I am.
How much of a little boy I am.
Does it make you feel like a
not
piece of shit?
grown man.
Like, I know some stuff that could maybe keep me alive for like 6 days, but
Dude, my grandpa's one of those
6
people.
days.
not a week.
My grandpa's
Just
one of those
short.
people legit. You put him in the woods, he'll figure it out. Like he'll hunt for his food, everything. It's crazy. Like he's one of those dudes that knows how to do everything. Like in nature, like we're talking about, you build a fucking fire with you ain't got no flint or steel or nothing, no lighter.
Yeah.
He just figures it out and then tells you how to do it. And he's one of those dudes that because he knows how to do so much shit that he just expects everybody else can do it. Like one time he dropped off a load of gravel at my mom's house. And he was like, "That barrier up there needs to be fixed about tomorrow. Get them boys up there, tell them how to build it." And then he just like left. And she was like, "I don't know how to build a fucking barrier." But he just assumes because he can do all this shit. And when you meet dudes like that, you're like, yeah, this is the type of dude that's gonna survive when the fucking apocalypse comes. Like I'm not gonna make it.
I'll just try to think about popping blood vessels in my eyes really, really hard. Maybe it'll happen again, and I'll convince the other zombies that I'm a zombie. That's my survival plan.
My plan is to go to Gatlinburg and raid a sword store.
Hopefully it doesn't burn down again.
One of the like 5 million that's there. Yeah.
That's filled with dull and cheap blades.
Dragon sword.
Shit.
Try to cut someone's head off, fail, and die in the fight.
Did you guys ever go down to Dragon Sword down in Covington? It used to be in Cheviot. It's like an all sword store. Where you can go up there.
Cheviot. I used to work at a bar there a long time ago.
What bar?
Fun fact.
You wanna plug
It's called the Public House now. Not
Yeah.
really. I don't want to.
Were you there when it was fucking bar rescue time for it?
No, I missed that. I was pissed because I really wanted to go to Ireland.
Yeah,
I was
what
pissed.
Was his name?
John Taffer.
John Taffer comes in there and just yells at the whole
No,
staff.
I didn't want to be like torn to pieces, but no, I bartended there for a very short period.
For
of
shit
time.
that isn't your fault. You're making no tips, no money. Everybody's drunk as fucking Cheviot. Starting fights, bikers coming in there yelling at each other.
I mean, it really, honestly.
John Taffer's in there like, "You motherfuckers need to get it together," and you're like, "Fuck you, dude. I quit."
Pretty much. I mean, it wasn't even that busy. Honestly, it wasn't that busy of a bar, so I was kind of shocked that it made it on Bar Rescue.
Right.
When I heard that he was visiting,
that's
obviously,
probably why it made it, because it was a shithole. He tries to fix up shitholes.
Probably. I don't know. I haven't been there in a really long time, but I went right after the remodel because I was, nosy, and curiosity kills, I guess. So I went there and I was like, oh, it's the same bar with new countertops. All right. Cool. They can make a drink.
They got some half-ass decent burgers, but I don't care about that bar. My buddy lives a block away from all those bars. I don't go in any of them anymore because I'm just like, fuck all these bars. They all suck. Like, fuck Cheviot bars. I just can't deal
I just
with
remember when one bar came out down the street called Legends, or like the Legend.
Oh, yeah. I know the guy who
Is that
opened
still
it.
there?
That's a
The
venue,
Sulkin
right?
brother.
Is it still there?
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, because I remember
it's
it was
fairly new.
Well, yeah, I guess it is.
It is. Brad Sulkin, we'll plug it for you, buddy. The Legends Bar, yeah, it's brand new. They got live music in there frequently of all
Is it a good
different
spot?
kinds. Yeah, it's a great spot.
It was like
Great.
when it came out, it was like 2012 or 2013, maybe.
Legends? Well, he might have bought out the name, but I know for
think
a
he
fact
bought out the name because
that he
I remember
just
it was
started
there
it.
and like everyone was really, really into it because it was a new bar.
He
But
probably bought it out then.
I would guess because when I was bartending there, it was a long time ago. Anyway, that was my previous life.
Ooh, right
Before
on.
the podcast.
Oh, does anybody
Let's-
here believe in reincarnation? That's something I wanted to ask.
Reincarnation.
So I have like mixed beliefs about it because I've always thought that like when you die, your energy's transported into like the worms that eat you, and then the birds that eat the worms, and the fucking everything continues in that
Right.
sense, like of reincarnation. Like energy continues to go because energy's never created or destroyed. But I don't know that I believe that like my consciousness is going to become a part of somebody else's consciousness that they're ever aware of at all.
Have you ever heard of the stories how, like, I think in one there was like this 5-year-old boy and he told his mom one day that he was previously alive and he was a woman in like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
And his mom's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, he had all these details like, "Yeah, Mom, I died in a fire." Yeah. And he's like, "I died in a fire. I remember where," and like gave her vivid details. And they hired like a private investigator and found out like this is a legit story. How the hell does my 5-year-old know this? And
How long ago had it been since she had died in that fire and that little 5-year-old was born?
She passed in, I want to say, It was probably 10 years before he was born, honestly, right. Because he was born in like the 80s or 90s, and he remembers this in vivid detail. And he tried to say, yeah, like God asked me what I wanted to do with my life, and I said I wanted to come back, and here I am, Mom. And I dug into that rabbit hole. I think we're going to eventually cover that kind of stuff in a podcast.
You should talk about it.
It was trippy.
Plug the name of that podcast, by the way. We've never mentioned it. Rachel hosts a podcast called
Haunted Visions.
Haunted Visions. Check that shit out. Where can they go to get that?
Apple Podcast app. If you like it, leave us a nice review. If you don't like it, please don't do anything.
And you guys do all stories like this on there, like everything.
Like anything weird or paranormal, UFOs, cryptids. We do listener stories. We just actually shared a story about this soldier in Afghanistan who, this little girl died in his arms during this attack. It was really emotional and really, really fucked up. And he said later he would pull guard duty and he would see this little girl. And she'd come up to him in broken English and say Pepsi, because the locals, that's what they knew they could get from the American soldiers, was something sweet, because they didn't have that over there. And he just kind of like was like this, because she was obviously all like, her apparition was all messed up, how she died in his arms. And he's like, okay, I can't tell anybody about this because they're going to think that I'm nuts, and they're going to send me to the, the tent where the psychologist evaluates you. So he left it alone, and then he heard from 15 other soldiers. They began seeing the same little girl who had basically had no legs for whatever reason, but she was like above floating, and then she would ask you for Pepsi repeatedly, and if you ignored her, she'd just disappear. It was bizarre.
I think I heard about those prosthetics that allow you to levitate. I think that's like a new technology.
You think developing. A little girl
is using
like what?
Dressing up in Hollywood makeup and
what?
What are you talking about, Luke? That's crazy. How many other people were able to corroborate this ghost? Was it just the one dude, or was there a bunch?
He said there was 15 or 16 other soldiers in his unit, and he's like, I've never really been that into it. And when he came back stateside, we left him anonymous because he asked to be left as anonymous. What is that
It's
noise?
A dog in the corner. It's all good. Keep going.
That's so weird that he was kind of broken up about that. Not that I'm surprised, but because we had another vet on that just talked about how he saw this little girl just get melted in half with a machine gun.
Well, yeah, and he was broken up about it, I think, because that was the only kind of thing that he saw happen when he was over there. Yeah. So it was like in his face, and then he's got more into paranormal stuff as he came back stateside, because originally he was like not for it, just totally against it, and then that happened and he couldn't explain it, and because so many other people corroborated the story, like, dude, I saw the same shit. He was like, okay, maybe there's something to this, I don't know. And that's kind of where I am. Like, I'm kind of I know this is such an oxymoron, but I'm a skeptical believer.
Yes,
I want proof of shit. I want proof.
Same.
And like, there's some stuff that I've seen, some EVPs, for example, that I've heard, or some shit that I've experienced firsthand where I can't deny, I can't explain what it is.
Could you give us a couple of those?
An example. I want to hear something.
Could you give us like your craziest ghost encounter?
The craziest shit that happened to me, there's two stories. I have tons of them. But my mom always jokes around and says shit follows me. I don't know if that's even a thing. I'm kind of skeptical because I hear a lot of stories, actually more common than not, about, oh, well, I believe I have powers and people follow me and
like in Christine or something.
Yeah, but so many people tell me that, do they really follow you? Really? It's hard unless you truly know that person and you've known them for years. There's no way of really knowing if they're telling the truth or if you can believe them. So I kind of take everything with a grain of salt, and it's fascinating to me either way, whether I believe it's true or not. I love hearing people's stories because that's what connects us all as humankind, right? Just sharing stories. So anyway, when I was about 4, I was living in Norwood, and my mom had a 2-family apartment. Actually, it was like a lot like this house. And we had the middle floor and the bottom floor. And I remember my mom would stay asleep. She'd sleep in, but usually I was a pretty good kid. I knew how to turn the TV on, turn cartoons on for myself. And my parents were divorced, and my dad was living on the west side in Delhi. And I remember waking up, and we had a really long hallway that went the entire length of the house. And there's pocket doors.
One of those creepy shining hallways that you'd see in that Kubrick movie or something?
Yeah, and but they had like those old wooden pocket doors that would slide in and out. So from the front door all the way down to my mom's bedroom at the very end of the hall, and I remember this hallway being a lot longer than it probably was because I was so tiny and it felt ominous. But this pocket door would when you wanted to get to like the front foyer area by the front door, you could slide that pocket door to close off the rest of the house. So when people would walk to the front door, they would see that pocket door, and in the living room, they wouldn't know that there was a giant hallway right there. So I remember that pocket door being open, and I came out of my bedroom, which is also along that hallway. I had to cross the hallway to get in the dining room and then the kitchen and the living room. And I remember seeing what I thought was her, because she would just wear these really loose nightgowns. But my mom has beautiful long red hair. And I remember seeing a woman in a flowy nightgown, but with hair like my mom's, but it was white. And just like take off down the hallway at ridiculous speed. And I didn't hear any noise. And I thought my mom was messing with me because I'm 4 years old. What the hell do I know?
Did it just look like a person, or was there any type
it looked like a person.
There was no aura or
no,
anything, like,
nothing.
Shit that you see
I've
in the
got
movies?
cold. Do you see this? Like, I've got cold chills.
She's got goosebumps. That's just telling us about this. It's creeping me out.
And I didn't hear any footsteps. Like, usually, like, I love my mom, but she's never walked softly. I don't know, Grandma R.I.P., but I don't know who taught this woman how to walk.
Heavy-footed goose steps
she's
all
just like,
across the entire
whack,
house.
whack, 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 just all the time. It doesn't matter. So I'm like, oh, Mom, and I run across the hallway. Well, that pocket door is shut all of a sudden, and there's nothing there but darkness. But I was little, and I was like, oh, okay. I don't know where she went. Where'd she go? She's messing with me. In my mind, I didn't have the cognitive ability to understand that I just saw shit that shouldn't be there, period.
It's very strange.
So I remember waking my mom up, and my mom freaked out because she thought somebody was in the house. And I said, no, there's a lady. There's a lady. She has white hair. There's a lady. And my mom said, I don't know what you're talking about. And that happened probably 2 or 3 more times since we lived there. But I'd always see her walk down that hallway focused on getting to that door, getting to the front, towards the front door, past that pocket door. But I'd always like hurry up and run. There's nothing there. But that's all that would happen.
Did you investigate maybe the room she was trying to get into? Maybe there was something
Well,
in that room?
It looked like it was she was just going straight down the hallway. She was determined. It was like she was coming from my mom's room at the very end of the hallway. I saw her in that small opening between the dining room, going through the hallway, and then into my bedroom. And she was just determined just to get down that into that hallway. And what I do also find odd that is my mom. I was at my dad's that weekend. I don't know all the details, but eventually there was some kind of fire in the closet that I used to almost use as a playroom that was in the front of the door. Like near the front door, and it was just, it had all my toys and stuff in it. Well, all my toys were ruined because there was a fire that sparked out of nowhere. And that, to me, obviously could have been like, the fire department chalked it up to like an electrical fire, even though everything was up to code with the electric. No one really knew how it could have been caused. But, so who knows? But I just thought that was always like an odd coincidence.
Yeah.
I've had some really creepy things happen to me. My house burnt down when I was in 5th grade.
Okay.
We rebuilt it, and a bunch of weird shit was happening after that. And I'm not saying I believe in any of this shit or any of that stuff, but I will say there's been some unexplained things that
shit that freaks you out, right?
So I had someone in my room. We were hanging out watching Max Payne, and I lived on the 2nd floor of this house.
Yeah.
And there was like a stairway in the middle of the room that went down into the main room. I had the whole bedroom to myself, like I said, whole 2nd floor. So it was dark out, and I have all wood floors, and my little brother, he's 12 years younger than me, and he liked to creep on whatever I was doing because I was always doing something interesting compared to what he was doing. Mm-hmm. So he would always like to sneak up on me. So as I'm watching this movie, I hear creaking up the stairs, like someone's sneaking up on me, and I'm like, Mitchell, stop. Go away, Mitchell. Just saying stuff away.
Fucking with you, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm getting up, and I paused the movie, and it said Mitch, and I look over down bottom of my stairs, and it is pitch black. It gives me chills just thinking about it. It's crazy. It
scared the shit out of you, didn't it?
Yeah, it is pitch black at the bottom of the stairs. Usually
Did it fall out of your leg?
There's a white door at the end of my stairway.
Shook it down the pants leg and it popped out.
Yeah, I just rolled a shit ball out of my pants. So
that's a funny visual.
Yeah. So, but it's just creepy as fuck because it's dark as shit on downstairs. I can't see my door, which is a white door, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, Mitch, and I hear another creak. And I just back up. It was the creepiest thing I've ever heard. But there would be all kinds of weird shit that would happen. That's not the worst thing that ever happened there.
Yeah.
But I remember I would come home And I'd be the only one home whenever I would get there, and I would see my window blinds peeked open, and I'd go upstairs and they'd be shut.
I got cold chill. Someone was fucking watching you.
It was fucking creepy as shit.
Ah, that creeps me out.
I used to get so freaked out living in Fairfax when I was a kid. There was I lived upstairs in what used to be an attic that was converted into like an upstairs area, and they'd added like a staircase and shit. And my dad was like an asshole. Like he would fuck with me all the time. Like he would dress up in monster masks and try to scare me. Like he said when I got older, like I was trying to desensitize you from being scared. Like fuck you, you were just trying to scare a kid, dick. But anyways, he was like I think we rented from Hollywood Video the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And when I got it, he was like, you can watch this movie. Normally I won't let you watch an R-rated movie. You can watch this one. But you can't watch it until 9 o'clock. And I was like, my bedtime's 9 o'clock. And he was like, yeah. You got to watch it upstairs, though, in your room. And my room freaked me the fuck out. Like, I needed to go to sleep as soon as I hit my room. Otherwise, I would just be paranoid that something was watching me from this, like, weird closet area.
Your room is supposed to be your safe place, bro.
And it was not. Unless
That's not okay.
But when it was daytime, everything was fine. I didn't mind it. But at night, like, it would fuck me up because it just freaked me the fuck out. I don't know why, but I always felt like I was being watched in there. And I had this, like, old school, you know those old school TV stands that are, like, a bookshelf and a TV stand? There's, like, a big-ass, like, place for a box TV. Mm-hmm. So the fucking TV's in there, and I turn on Nightmare on Elm Street. My dad goes to bed. My stepmom goes to bed. My stepbrother, who lives in the room next to me, is not there. He's, like, out. And he was in high school at the time because he's a lot older than me. And I'm watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and I watched the whole thing, and it freaked me the fuck out. And I was like, I gotta go to bed now.
You didn't sleep that night, did you?
Didn't sleep at all. So not only did I not sleep, but I fucking kept going downstairs trying to get in my dad's bed. Like, please just let me sleep in here. And I kept getting freaked out, thinking that Freddy was gonna come out of the closet and fucking kill me or something like that.
He's coming.
I went down the stairs like 8 times, and on the 8th time, my dad just like whooped my ass all the way back up the stairs, and then like I'm sitting in bed, sore butt, like afraid that Freddy's gonna get me. It was exactly like that, Pat. And I don't know. I just remember thinking my stepbrother came home eventually during the night, and then I was like crying when he got there, and he was like, "What's your problem right now?" And I was like, "My dad made me watch Nightmare on Elm Street. It was 9 o'clock, and now it's 2 in the morning, and he won't let me sleep in his bed." And he was like, "Buddy, just come sleep in my bed. I'm gonna play video games in your room." And he was like, "Okay, thanks, Matt." And I don't know, that shit freaked me out. But I had all kinds of weird experiences. That was just like, it freaked me out because it was a scary movie. Will that prevent
you from doing that to your future child?
I hopefully don't. I don't know if I want kids, but yeah, I wouldn't do that to a kid. I mean, I fucked up my siblings enough by being the oldest, and I made my mistakes when I was a child, and I was learning from my dad's shitty behavior when I was a kid. But yeah, I would never do that to a kid now because he was like, "Oh, it's gonna make you tougher." No, it just made me more of a pussy. I'm afraid of everything. The only thing I'm not scared of is people. I don't know why, because my mom's always like, "That's
people
the only
scare the shit out of me." I listen to like true crime
I got a
all
story.
the time.
My mom's like, "That's the only thing you should be scared
Pat.
of," but I'm afraid of everything else.
Do you have a true crime story?
Go on, Luke.
No, go ahead, Pat.
No, now you're telling us.
Let's get the story out,
You can't
Pat.
do that. You
Okay.
can't do that.
All right, so you ever heard anyone sleep talk before?
I sleep talk heavy. I sleep talk super heavy.
Sean sleep talks all the time, but it's usually about
How
vegetables.
about sleep screaming?
No.
I do that too.
He did. He asked me when I did. He's like, "Oh,
That's
I
a
bought
real
some
medical
radishes."
term. There's a word for that.
What?
Night terrors.
There you go.
I don't have night terrors. My sister does though. I scream like I yell at people in my sleep and all kinds of shit. But my sister Jessica, she fucking screams in her sleep. She used to wake up the whole house. She'd be like, "Ah! Ah! Ah!" And she wouldn't wake up. She was like, "They're fucking coming for." She wouldn't say fuck. She was a little ass kid, but
She'd say fudge.
She doesn't do it as much anymore.
Fudging fudge.
Now she's like 15 now, but when she did it, she was a little ass kid. And Jessica used to scare the shit out of my mom because she would like sleepwalk.
Yeah.
And she would come to her bed and want to get in bed with her, and Jessica wouldn't remember any of this. She would get right up on my mom, like an inch away from her face and shit, and just like stare at her.
Jesus
and my mom
Christ.
said she would feel eyes on her, and she'd wake up to like a little kid staring
Dude,
at her.
that would make me
and
scream.
she'd be like, "Ah!" And Jessica would wake up and not know where she was at, and my mom would be screaming, and she would start fucking
Seriously,
crying.
imagine that. Waking up to someone
Yeah.
an inch away from your face,
Jessica?
just bent over.
What?
My little sister, when she was a kid, did look like one of those scary ass, like she might be a ghost kid, like walking around the house and shit, and she would
Like
scare the
something from The
fuck out of
Grudge?
my mom. Yeah,
Ugh.
definitely.
To go way back to your question on reincarnation.
Yeah.
No, I don't really believe into the whole technicality of the Hinduism with the reincarnation. You
Okay.
know? Like the direct link. Like as
if
soon
you're
as
a
I
shitty
die,
person, you become a cockroach immediately.
Yeah, you know, like I mean, I do believe in karma to a vision. Like shitty people do get shit things happen to them eventually. But
you think Hitler's in hell getting a pineapple stuff?
No,
up
I
his
don't
ass?
Because I don't believe in
Little
hell.
Nicky reference. I'm sorry, you guys.
No, I was thinking about him in a tutu. Just
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Anyway.
And he's got the maid's outfit on.
Yeah.
But I've had like weird memories and stuff, and I have deja vu at least 5 times a day.
I have deja vu all the time, and it freaks me out.
Yeah, it's to a scary limit that I
would maybe you should see someone. You know what you should do? You should go
see for that?
lay down. Well, they have therapists that are
deja vuologists.
No, past life regressions or something like that, where you go and you like lie on their couch and they supposedly hypnotize you and they bring things out of you, and that's how people have been like supposedly. I'm not saying I buy into it, but been able to talk about UFO abductions and weird shit that's happened to them. That's how they get it to surface.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were gonna dive into the Scientology part where they make you relive your past lives until you're clear in all of them.
Well, I think that they focus on that kind of stuff too. I don't know, but it would be kind of cool just to do it.
Yeah.
That's on my bucket list. I've seen a psychic a couple times. There's something that happens in Cincinnati. I think it's twice a year now. It's called the Victory of Light Expo, and I went and saw a psychic twice that puts that on, and I went in skeptical as hell. But I've had a lot of close people die to me, and die to me. No, that's wrong. A lot of close people that have been close to me that have died, and I went to go see him. And I didn't give him anything. And he starts telling me shit that I was freaked out. There's no way this man would have known this stuff. Okay, so I went shortly after my grandma died, and she passed away about almost 5 years ago. So about 5 years ago. And I was devastated. It was my mom's mom. She practically helped raise me. Just loved her to pieces. And she's a very God-fearing woman, too. And I loved her. And I went to go see this guy. And I sit down with him. I had one picture. It was a headshot of her. Just a headshot. Nothing that she was wearing. Nothing for him to pick up details about. I didn't want him to see anything. And I said, here, this is my grandmother. Didn't say details. Didn't even give him my real last name when I called and made the appointment with him. Mm-hmm. I gave him my maiden name, which is Plogstead. I didn't give him my married name, Flynn. So he goes, he's like, and it was a picture of her smile, by the way, just like this. There was no teeth in the smile, and that comes into play later. My grandma didn't take very good care of her teeth because she was an old farm girl back in the day. She would, like, cut chickens' heads off, straight up pluck their feathers, like...
Metal.
She was metal. She would just, like, straight up take a fish off a hook, no problem, like, wasn't a pansy about it. So she, later on in life, she eventually did get dentures, like, close by the time to the time she needed to go to hospice because she died of stage 4 cancer. But... she never really had good teeth. That was the one thing she was kind of self-conscious about. So there's no way for him to know that. And he goes, are you going and seeing the dentist? And I said, I actually haven't been in a while. And he goes, well, your grandma's saying that you need to go because she doesn't want you to end up with the same regret that she does about her teeth and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, first of all, I was like, nah, he could have grabbed that, right? He could have just maybe grabbed that. But if you see me smile, I feel like I have pretty nice teeth. Like my dad got braces for me, and...
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did he ask you any leading question? Because I'm real skeptical of these people.
No, that's the thing. So I've been to one psychic who she was full of shit.
Yeah.
She's like, I see this blonde woman coming and telling me she misses you. I'm like, that's funny. There's no blondes in my family. And there's no blondes that have died. Even if we're talking great grandparents, like no blondes. No one that would have been close to me. No friends.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of them do. They just pick up on something.
And then they see what your emotional reactions are. So I try to go in and be pretty, even if I'm getting emotional, I try to like be pretty straight-laced just because I want to know. And I almost want to prove to myself that, that life after death is possible and interaction with both worlds is possible. I want to prove that.
It's comforting.
I'm like Mulder. I want to believe.
I heard some really fucked up shit that kind of shook my belief in death specifically. Now we're going to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So what they were saying is like, your near-death experience is a bit of a DMT blast. Mm-hmm. We have 5 minutes, so I'll make this quick. It's a DMT blast, and it's just, they last forever when you have those, when you have the DMT trip.
What?
Even though it's only a couple of minutes or whatever, it feels like forever, like you live a whole other lifetime. So when they say when you die, that DMT is released because it's in your brain. And when you're dying and it just comes out, it's
it's from your pineal gland inside of your brain.
Right. They say it's like a whole mix of stuff, right?
So
the people that have had near-death experiences, they say they attribute it to the DMT being rushed inside of your brain and it creating a psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Pat.
So basically, the death one, where it's all released, is the eternal trip. And that's what people are saying when they see whenever they are seeing that near-death experience.
I've heard
It's
ER
the
doctors
trip.
talk about that, but then I've also heard of an ER doctor, I'll look his name up, but he said that he had a near-death experience, and he was pronounced dead for over 35 minutes. And that is...
What?
He was dead.
How's
No
his
brain
brain?
Yeah,
action.
his
dead.
brain can only last 7 days.
Something happened, and it's documented. I will find it. Something
Please.
happened. They gave up on him. They stopped. They pronounced him dead. I mean, he's literally laying there. They're getting ready to take him to the morgue at that point. And he came back. He came back because he said, I talked to God, and he brought me back. There is no medical, scientific explanation for someone... It was weird. That shit fascinates me, right? So I'll read. I read about both sides because I want to be able to prove stuff. So, anyway, you said we have 5 minutes left.
No. We're doing a break in 5 minutes, and then after that, we'll come back on.
Oh,
I feel
Unless
like
you have limited time.
No, I
guess we
don't.
could go through.
I feel like if I was in the same room when I heard that guy's story, I would probably my atheism would just increase in strength.
Well, that's a normal knee-jerk reaction, right? I mean, and I'm not an atheist. I think I'm honestly, my dad's gonna murder me if he listens to this, but I'm more agnostic.
I hope he does.
I think everyone is agnostic.
I kind of hope he does, just so we get more viewers.
To a certain degree, I do believe in God, but then to a certain degree, I don't also believe that one religion is right. What about other religions that I don't know. I question a lot of things.
Yeah,
but I do believe there's some kind of intelligent design that started stuff, because I've looked at all kinds of theories, like the Big Bang Theory, for example. To me, even with science, there's no fucking way.
I think it's a slippery slope to start saying things like intelligent design, but I don't know that it's so much intelligent, but there's definitely something that's guiding all
we
this,
could
but
be
I don't
a
know what the fuck
fucking
it is.
science experiment to aliens, for Christ's sake.
I
You know what I mean?
I totally do, because everything down to the genetic makeup, to the cellular level, is programmed to do one thing or another. It's set in its ways. Not everything natural has a free will of its own. A cell is meant, like a white blood cell is meant to combat.
They say the reason you crave certain foods or you want to go to sleep at a certain time, it's the bacteria that live in your body that are actually controlling your thoughts.
100%.
Not anymore.
Yes.
Also, now that I know their secrets.
All right, I think that's the perfect time for a break.
It's break time.
We'll be right back, fuckers.
You're on.
I'm live.
Stop breathing.
Make sure to like the Bastard Sermon on Instagram, Facebook, and check us out on all the other podcasts.
What's wrong with you? Who broke you?
Check us out on iTunes and Libsyn. And then here's Rachel Flynn to explain her podcast.
I literally just threw up in my mouth because I laughed so hard. Oh, Jesus, I can't
Also, make sure to check out my other podcast if you like 90s nostalgia, Talk Boys, also on iTunes and Libsyn. Check it out and leave a review.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, follow the Bastard Sermon on all social media.
I've said this
Instagram.
already.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said it while he was hyperventilating.
Yeah.
You can find Haunted Visions on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast app. My favorite personal podcast app is something called Overcast. I believe you can use it for iPhones and maybe Androids too, not sure. We are on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. You can find us under Haunted Visions, the podcast. We have a closed private Facebook group that you can join. It's Haunted Visions. We post funny memes, and we'll pin new episodes of the podcast there. A lot of people interact with each other. We say happy birthday to people, just cute stuff like that. It's a small little community. So if you're interested in doing that, you can also send us stories. If you have any paranormal stories or anything about cryptids or UFOs or unexplained phenomena, you can send your emails of your stories or even feedback for the podcast Haunted Visions to hauntedvisionspodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect.
And we're back. What's up, fuckers?
let's get back to this handshaking conversation we were just having off air.
You have to give some backstory.
Yeah, set this up.
Okay, so
have you ever shook someone's hand?
Yeah.
And were like, that was a firm handshake. I don't know.
Have you ever shook someone's hand and they just put like a dead hand in your palm?
Like
and
it feels
with
like
zero
a
movement.
fish.
Yes.
You crush their hand with your hard grip.
Yeah, with a firm natural grip that you would as a human being recognizing another human being.
God,
it's frustrating.
But how do people? Here's the real question. And Rachel, I want your honest opinion. Like, what happens when two dead fish hands meet? You know, they're two people who are just have dead fish handshakes, and they just shake each other's dead fish hands. Do they stare at each other? Like, what?
When one dead fish loves another dead fish,
then they make a gay fish.
They make no. That's not where I was going with it. They make dead
dicks?
Fish babies.
Oh God.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
I don't know.
Hands?
They embrace each other. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Do you think they
probably do. They probably do too. All of those things are possible.
We didn't set this up with any context, so everybody's like, "How the fuck did they start talking about dead?"
We
fish
started
handshakes?
talking about this because of some bitch that I
Hey,
work
easy,
with.
Easy.
I
Do you want your job?
Hey, I'm not gonna say her name.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it.
What's
but
her gender pronoun?
Are you saying I like
Zim,
fish sticks?
Zer?
No, I like that.
Zimzer and Gur.
So
it's. I think when two dead hands meet in a handshake,
We're still not giving any
That's like-
context, Luke. You just
Oh,
who
sorry.
cares? Everyone knows what we're talking about.
the dead hands when they meet, that's a power grab for one of them to evolve socially. Because I think someone who shakes dead-handed is just a submissive person.
I feel like when two dead fish hands meet, it's like E.T. whenever he touches
Then
someone.
their hands glow,
and they have a vision.
And loves a woman.
and then and then they hug each other.
And then they make out. But they're the kind of people that make out that don't use their tongue.
Ew.
You know?
How
do you do that?
No.
Open mouth kiss without tongue.
Oh, that's weird.
So-
People do that?
No,
Yeah,
it's
dude,
one
people
thing when you
probably
just
do
go,
that.
Cut it out.
Mwah, mwah, but it's another thing when you go. That's great.
You're just cupping.
That's what it looks like. Sorry,
Cupping, yeah,
you guys
some
at home
hardcore
can't
cupping.
see
I
what
wish
just
we had a
did.
video element to the podcast so that you can
That
see
would have made some great context.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's had a bad kisser, though, before where, you know, they just don't give any tongue.
Terrible.
Or they suck the air out of you.
You know when you're
or
tonguing
when they
somebody,
go to
Are
kiss you, they
the
always
villain?
go too
They're
high or
trying to
too
kill
low.
me?
No, I mean, what?
or when you're
asking,
tonguing
like-
you're tonguing somebody's butthole real good, and then they just fart right in your mouth. I mean, that's the worst, right? We can all
there's-
relate.
There's a radio host called Charlemagne the God, and this guy is notoriously known for liking to suck farts out of women's buttholes.
That's retarded. I was joking.
Would you
That's
actually
a
do
real
that, though?
thing. Would I? No, sir.
No,
You wouldn't
thank
suck
you.
a fart?
No. That's hilarious.
Have you ever seen that Jackass skit where Steve-O has the scuba helmet on and
Yep.
Preston
Yep.
takes his shit
Yep.
in the
It's supposed to just be
funnel?
a fart
Yep.
helmet, and then he like throws up, and they show him the
I-
funnel, and he shit in there.
I
That vomit's
nearly
like puddle.
vomited as hard as Steve-O laughing at that.
I watched it in the
fucking
theater.
nasty,
I saw
dude.
Jackass 3 in the theater with my dad, and it
Same.
was empty
Oh
ass
my God,
theater, and we
same.
laughed. We were like holding each other, like convulsing and crying, and you're like, like I can't stop laughing, like we're on the floor, bubble gum on our fucking head and shit. It's the best. I love seeing that. That was
Bam
my
Margera
favorite movie.
taking a golden
From
dick
dead
up his
fish
ass.
to here.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the bastard sermon,
Yeah,
Rachel.
welcome.
And
Oh my
welcome to
God.
smoking weed.
Yeah. All right. Well, before
Oh,
we
that
even
was
turned the
nice.
mics on at all, you guys were getting into CrimeCon. Do you want to break that down?
Yeah, so actually we're going to be visiting CrimeCon in May, May 4th, I believe. May the 4th be with you. And there's a whole bunch of people there. Like last year at CrimeCon, they had Nancy Grace, they had Aphrodite Jones, they had a bunch of really famous, well-known FBI directors. It's a really, really cool place and a lot of true crime podcasts. Well,
Are you going
that's
down there
May
as a
4th.
podcast or just to check
Well,
it out?
we are, but we are just going to be like walking around and mingling with everybody. Now, the podcast the podcast convention that's coming up that we're going to be featured in is in August in New Orleans, and it's called the Modern Love Festival, and it's a bunch of different podcasts, and we're on the paranormal panel with two other really widely known podcasts. So we're gonna sign autographs and
what are
pass
those
out
podcasts?
T-shirts and stuff. One is History Goes Bump with Diane and Denise, and the other one is Pleasing Tears with Mike Brown. Really, really good podcast.
Shout outs.
Yep.
Yo.
Do you guys have any
Plugs.
podcasts you want to plug?
Last podcast on the left, Joe Rogan.
No,
Experience.
Your
Ours,
mom's
Fear
house.
Skeptic Tank, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, Your Mom's House, fucking Rogan. There's a bunch.
For sure.
I listen to a lot of video game podcasts.
The Bastard
I'm
Sermon.
a huge nerd.
The Bastard Sermon.
The Bastard Sermon.
The Bastard Sermon.
I listen to the Bastard Sermon.
These guys are a bunch of bastards.
I also
That
listen
was like
to
a whole radio breakdown. Like I felt like I was in my car driving along listening to
Listen to
DJs.
Morning Zoo bullshit.
and I also listen to
Haunted Visions.
Haunted Visions.
Wow, that was.
Yeah.
Can you edit
Great.
that?
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna make that
pressing
closer together.
space out.
I'm actually gonna make the length longer in between that, so that's more awkward.
Put a
Can
cricket
you
thing
add
in there.
crickets?
Yeah, I'm gonna edit crickets into that.
That's
I wish you guys could have, the people listening could see Luke like pointing at her and like mouthing it. Like, I
What
forgot
is
the name
he
of your
saying?
fucking
Are
podcast.
you-
We can't
You
even edit
need
it now
chopsticks.
because we need all of this for the context.
Yeah.
What a bastard. Sorry.
No, it's goddamn
I didn't know what
point.
this was. Like I didn't know if you were like fake drumming or if you needed some chopsticks.
No, that's my Chandler impersonation.
So
Oh yeah, if you would have said the Chandler, I would have understood.
I'm kidding.
I got a question. And here's how we can move this along. I got a question, okay?
Pizza.
So, you know how okay, so
I
let's
just
say
burped into your
let's
microphone.
say there are souls. All right?
Dark Soul.
Hypothetically for you, Luke.
hate that game.
Let's say there's souls.
Let's hear it.
All right. So, so when people die, like they just look like the way they want to look, or do they
I don't
die the
know.
way that they are? So let's say there's a fat person and they die when they're fat. Are they a fat soul?
I feel like
Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel like people would see you how you see yourself.
Isn't the soul have
that's
nothing
freaking deep.
Yeah.
You mean like see
Dang,
yourself like,
boy.
wow, that was
Yeah.
deep.
But I mean, I think that also depends on how much self-reflection you do. And someone with as much
I'm
self-deprecation
looking
as
at the
myself,
man
it's like
in
all
the
of the
mirror.
time.
So here's another really good question.
to Luke would be an actual frogman.
I really would be.
Two
It would
eyes
just be
completely apart.
and a belly full of shame.
Here's another really good question. And Rachel and I talked about this. My girlfriend,
Other Rachel.
other Rachel.
Lots of Rachels.
Lots of Rachels here tonight.
Do you have a dog named Rachel too, Pat?
I do.
Not yet.
So you've seen Titanic, right?
Yes. I'll
So-
never let go.
Yeah. Jack, he froze to death. Isn't that horrible?
Unrightfully. That bitch.
Mythbusters, I'm pretty sure did prove there was room on the door, didn't they? Or
Yeah.
Definitely ruined the door.
Also, the guy who made the film, the director.
James Cameron.
Yeah, he like freaked out apparently. He didn't yell, but he was like, maybe that was a fault on our end, you know? Like maybe it wasn't that big.
Oh yeah, he was on a talk show and he
Yeah.
he did.
It was an accident.
He felt guilty. Yeah.
God damn. I can totally.
When do you
picture him
think
freaking
Titanic
out.
Part 2 is coming out?
Well, hold on. Let me.
What?
So,
The long-awaited sequel.
It should have been split in 2 parts, if you know what I mean.
It's just what was Leonardo DiCaprio's character's name? Jack. It's just Jack
Yeah.
frozen at the bottom of the river, and then
it's
the
a 2-hour
girlfriend,
shot of him frozen at the bottom of the ocean.
and then the girlfriend getting some new dick,
pay
and then that's the end.
$13 for that.
Titanic
That's
2.
fucked. Okay, so here's
Titanic
what I was saying though. So Rose was in love with Jack for those 6 days, all right, and it's all about
She
her in the
wasn't.
future, and then her telling the story. So she had a whole life with a family, kids, another man for 40-something fucking years, and when she dies, at the end of it, you see that last scene where she's back in the Titanic with Jack, having that last dance with all the ghosts
And
around
she's
there.
young again, and they're young
So-
again and in love.
My question is,
Yeah.
what happened to her husband? Was there? So her soul went to Jack.
It wasn't in the script.
Was
Ah,
he?
fuck that dude.
Yeah, it wasn't in the script.
So-
Nobody cares about him.
Also-
He dies after 40 years of being with the woman of his dreams.
He was
And she goes back to fucking some dude that she only
Some
knew for 6 days.
strange.
Yeah, can't compare to that DiCaprio.
So
the Capricorn. Well, I think
That's the
they
name of
looked
the
it up.
episode.
That's fucking awesome.
I think they looked it up. That dude never even existed.
Yeah, I know. It's all bullshit. It's a movie, Luke.
Yeah, they couldn't find that dude
Did you
anywhere.
know that they didn't really sink a boat for it, too?
Ha ha. Yeah, they did.
Your
I was the
mom sank a
demolitionist
boat.
expert.
This podcast has evolved into stupidity, and I love it.
I'm still laughing at DeCapricock. That is so fucking funny, dude.
DeCapricock.
Can we please name the episode that?
DeCapricock.
If that's what you want.
Yeah.
If that's okay with Rachel.
Spectacles in the DeCapricock.
Sounds like she's cool with it.
DeCapricock's spectacle testicles.
I mean, for real, Pat makes a good point though. What kind of
wash?
dick was Leonardo or Jack slinging that like she forgot about her husband after she died and just wanted to go back with this one dude?
He annihilated her in that car in
Lord.
the cargo.
Okay, there was one handprint.
He put her to fucking rest after that fucking scene.
And this
dude.
was the 20s, so you know there was like 60 different layers of clothes they had to take off first.
Jesus.
And I don't know about anyone else, but I have never gotten as sweaty as Kate Winslet looked playing Rose with, like, after
It was
they
all
had
that
sex.
hair.
She was so ridiculously sweaty. I was like, Jesus! Like they dipped her under a faucet before they put her in this scene. That's not real.
Did
Come
you know?
on, people.
You guys probably already know this. It's pretty well known. But you remember the scene where she was being drawn, where she was naked?
Mm-hmm.
In that
James
scene,
Cameron
James
drew
Cameron
that.
was the one who was drawing that. That's pretty
What?
crazy. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't the one drawing. Like they,
Good for him.
But he drew the actual thing. He's actually a really good artist. He designed Predator's like mask or the way the Predator looked without his mask on a plane ride with some other dude. I want to say that he was talking with not John Carpenter. Who's the dude? Stan Winston, the one that from the Stan Winston School of Effects or whatever. The most famous, like he did all the dinosaurs for Jurassic Park and all kinds of the Terminator and all that shit. And they were like, I've never seen mandibles on the face of somebody like the ones that spiders have. So he just drew the same face with mandibles. Did you ever see the original Predator? Fucking
Yeah.
It's horrible. They were about to
I don't
ruin
think
that
so.
movie for fucking ever. Can you look that up, Pat? And
What am I
show us?
looking
Have you?
Original Predator design. They had the costume and shit, and it was like the worst looking shit. It would have ruined the fucking movie.
Speaking of original concepts, did you see the original concept design for Darth Maul?
I
From
haven't.
Star
Yeah,
Wars.
it had the
It's
red,
it's like a really skinny child, pale white skin with long, bright blood red dreads.
That might
And
have
it's
been
got
cool.
like gold and rotten teeth with bright yellow eyes.
Oh, that might have been cool as fuck.
It looked terrifying. It looked really
should've
scary.
went for that.
They told dude, or George Lucas told dude, for your first, I want you to draw your worst nightmare. And then the dude drew that, and then he was like, that's too scary. I want kids to watch this. Draw your second worst nightmare.
Yeah. Pat just pulled up the original Predator design. It looks like a fucking goofy like gecko lizard wearing a helmet.
It always reminded me
really
of the
shitty
aliens
looking.
from Halo.
Oh yeah.
The Elite.
That.
the elites.
Never played Halo.
Oh, what?
Well, you're
I mean,
a
I
fool.
played
Get
it.
the
I don't-
fuck off the
I don't want
podcast.
to be a Debbie Downer, but I didn't look at the time. Like I swear to God, an hour just flew by, but I have to leave within like 10 minutes.
It's
Oh,
okay.
God.
We could talk for 10 minutes and wrap this thing up.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Or if I
Yeah.
have to leave, you guys can pick up and just have me here in memory.
Well, we appreciate you coming and talking about all of our goofy bullshit with us and like
No, it's
telling
been
ghost
fun.
stories and
I'd love
stuff.
to come back.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Love to have you back. Absolutely. Is there? What's the weirdest would you rather question you know?
That's not how you set up man-to-man, Pat. What are you
I'm
doing?
so ashamed of you
That
right
was
now
the
with how
worst
you
setup
segued
for
into
man-to-man.
man-to-man.
How dare
Okay.
you?
Fucking
So-
man up to this right now.
Okay.
Better fix this,
Okay.
You better
Patrick.
I'm fixing it. Okay, guys. All right. It's man to man.
Wait.
This
what?
is how we'll close the show. This is
Okay.
man-to-man.
So this
if you
is a
haven't listened
section-
to the show before.
I honestly can't remember what I did, last Tuesday. So I don't know. What question? I have no idea.
That's
It's all
cool.
right. Pat's
So
gonna fix this.
I know I've been asked a lot of stuff, but I don't remember anything.
I'm
specifically.
sure. I'm sure. Okay. So this is man to man, where we ask you a would you rather question, and you have to pick one of them, no matter what they are, no matter how horrible, no matter how great, how anything ever.
Okay. Nothing about babies and nothing about Betty White because she is a national treasure.
Now it's gonna be something
are my
between babies
rules.
and Betty White.
make it exclusively on babies and Betty White.
Okay. So man to man, it's just us here. Just so you know,
Nice.
you can just tell it's just me you're talking to,
and me
and
and
Okay.
the dogs and other Rachels right next to us.
And a
But
ki-
mostly
and a
just you and
kitty,
Pat.
And a
Yeah.
kitty.
just tune them out.
Okay.
So, on man to man, would you rather have peanut fingers
Oh God, Pat.
or
Like my fingers are actually
like
peanuts?
peanuts?
Okay.
Yeah,
Shelled-
peanuts. Like
shelled
shelled
peanuts?
Shelled peanuts.
How would
Okay.
that fucking work though, Pat?
Just Matt, look at your
Okay.
hand.
How are they
and
attached?
All
I've
the
got,
fingers
I've got
are
peanut nuts.
they're peanuts. All right?
Okay.
They're peanuts. It's not hard to picture.
Okay. What am I up against? What are my peanut fingers
Salty
up against?
peanuts fingers.
Are they salty the entire? Like if you lick it and like the salt
They're
goes away?
constantly salty.
So I
dope.
would have
I mean,
eaten my
yes.
fingers.
Yeah, my fingers
A
are all
single
gone.
peanut
You
for
can
each
kill
finger, a
yourself
thumb.
doing that. You can die.
If you eat the peanut fingers, does it hurt? Are there nerves
So
in the
I just
peanuts?
heard someone
Yeah,
say you
it's
could
like a
die.
regular
I was gonna say
You
finger.
can.
Oh,
With enough salt
kitty in the
consumption,
glass.
you can die.
Well,
That's
so
sad.
you have peanut.
It's a
It
fact.
makes me sad.
peanut fingers.
Okay.
Or would you rather give birth to a baby that looks just like Betty White right now?
What? the fuck?
Definitely gonna take the Benjamin Button baby.
Oh my lord.
You want? I thought you said nothing. You didn't want that.
No, I would take that. If it was Betty White and a baby combined,
But she will never.
I just didn't want you
Here's
to
how-
pose a question that
before you
would
pick-
threaten Betty White's life.
Okay, you haven't let me finish though.
I'm
I've-
giving,
always
I'm giving
gets
her
worse.
life
Okay,
in this scenario.
No,
the
but
part
hold
about
on.
man to man is that it gets worse. All right, it gets
Only
way,
one of
way
them.
worse. All
So
right,
the other one you have to pick.
So you could either have peanut fingers. Sorry.
Keep saying it like it's gonna change
Like,
your mind.
you just have
now
peanut
listen,
fingers.
they're fingers that are peanuts.
It's like he wants.
I don't know that
me
you
to
follow me here.
choose it.
Peanut fingers. Are you familiar with fingers?
You have
How about peanuts?
so peanut fingers?
Planners are my favorite.
Yeah, peanut fingers,
Wow.
or you have
Like honey
this,
roasted peanut fingers.
You have this freak baby
Delicious.
that is.
That's a peanut baby now.
It's an old woman. It's a baby-sized old woman.
Is it gonna die as soon as
Oh.
Betty White's probably gonna die?
It's a baby-sized old woman.
Sounds so scary.
It's Betty White.
It's the worst nightmare.
It's Betty White. It's Betty White.
We're never
so,
gonna get to the end of this one.
So I mean,
I need some water.
yeah.
I'm parched.
I have nos and beer.
That scares
water.
me. That combination scares me.
Well, there's water
I have
over
to.
here.
It's cool.
Okay.
Let's get through this. She's gotta leave soon. Come on.
Pick. Would you have peanut fingers or the freakish old woman baby?
I think she already picked
I picked
that.
the old woman baby because I'm a weirdo. I'm a
That's a
freak.
nightmare.
I would have picked peanut fingers.
I would have picked peanut fingers.
Yeah, what the
Okay, would you rather, man to man, just me and you, man to woman, just for the first time ever, actually, we
Man
haven't had
to
a lady
lady.
guest, man to lady, would you rather be permanently, and I do this one every time, would you rather be
Oh, God.
permanently dressed like a clown? You can pick your clown. You could be like a juggalette,
Could
I'm
I
sorry.
be Pennywise?
You could be Pennywise
Yeah.
if you want. Any clown you want, but you have to be permanently dressed like that in all of your activities, like whatever you're doing. You're going out to fucking dinner, you're having...
Could you imagine having sex
I was just about to say, you're having
while
sex.
eating peanuts on
With
a
peanut
futon,
fingers.
Imagine
dressed
if
like
you had
Pennywise?
peanut fingers.
Right, so either that
That sounds
or...
so uncomfortable.
Or
You're permanently. I'm gonna go with permanently dressed like a furry. You can pick your furry, whatever furry you want, but you are
furry
also
all the
permanently
way.
dressed
But
like
I'd
a furry.
move to Canada, so that way if
What
I
would
was
your-
really far up north, my fur wouldn't
What's your furry?
bother
What's
me.
your furry though?
Yeah, what's your furry?
You guys act like furries are a common social icon that people
I would
know. I
say-
can't name
I
a
would
single
say-
She
furry.
knew exactly what I was talking
One out
about.
Panda.
of 4 people. 1 out of 4 people are furries.
I don't think that's
I
a
would
real
be-
Closet
statistic.
furries.
I'd be a panda furry because if shit got weird, I could just put myself in a ball and roll down a hill. Get
Fact.
the fuck out of
You
there.
said you'd be a hamster?
Panda.
Panda.
Oh, I thought you said hamster.
But what if while you were dressed like a clown, you got to have peanut fingers?
Do you think there are hamster
You might as
furries?
well work at the carnival at that
I
point.
don't think so.
Like the
Let
furry.
kids lick your hands.
I remember the first time I found out about what furries were. It was an old episode of CSI Las Vegas, like the good CSI before these other ones came on. And I remember they were investigating the murder of this furry that was like a bulldog or something.
This is a real
And-
episode.
Yes, of CSI.
Had it coming.
Yeah.
Had it coming.
Look up furry episode of CSI. I'm pretty sure it's Las Vegas or Nevada or I don't know, one of those things. It's the very original CSI.
So, do you think that there are hamster furries and they like to walk around in big balls? Like Zorb balls?
I've actually been inside one of those hamster ball things. They're pretty fun.
The Zorb balls?
Those
I'm
big,
real jelly.
no, but they're not. They're like plastic and they blow them up with a leaf blower.
Down at Newport on the Levee, they have this little pool that is
You
filled
do
with those
that.
balls.
Yeah.
I remember I got really drunk one time.
Did you?
And I did it, and I ripped my pants right down the middle.
How?
I didn't
How?
know, because it's impossible to stand up in that stuff. It is hot as shit in these balls too.
I believe it.
But you're just like trying to stand up on these balls in the water, and you're inside of them, and it's really, really hard to stand up. But it's so much fun. I was so sweaty afterwards, and then after I
It
did
is
it,
fun.
all the drunk people that were there were doing it, but I was the first adult that was doing it, I guess. It was very strange.
Made it look cool.
I made it look cool, but it was fucking crazy. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. $8 well worth spent.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
I connected to that.
Glad.
Well, on that note, let's wrap this bitch up.
Right on. Well, thanks for coming out, Rachel.
Balls. Thanks.
No problem.
Thanks for coming on.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Bastard Sermon, and have a good one.
Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Bastard Sermon today. If you liked us, check us out.
God, Pat, that's staying in. Now we're going. If you liked us, please fucking find us on Instagram at The Bastard Sermon. Please find us on iTunes at The Bastard Sermon and on Facebook at The Bastard Sermon. Leave us a review if you liked it. Leave us a review if you hated it. And please tell Pat that he's an idiot for fucking up the reads. All right, good night.